I know you can hear me. I haven't found your microphones yet, and I'm sure you've hidden cameras and seen me as well, but I've seen you too. In that black van parked down the street. You work for the police or the FBI, and you still consider me a suspect, but you're wrong. In fact, I'm conducting my own investigation. So turn up your receivers, because I am about to inform you of events that occurred before you started violating my privacy. Events you know nothing about. Starting the afternoon of last Friday in August, when Nathan Woolsey and Julian Dornick were standing across the street in front of Spindle's fabric shop. Nathan was taking pictures of that window when he asked his friend to move.
Move! You're blocking my view.
Sorry.
He changes the display every week. Have you ever seen such a combination of colors and textures? This window belongs in a gallery.
Well, I must say, it's a fine display of textile.
The whole world's in that window. The silks from China, the cottons from Egypt, the lace from France. I've met the owner, and her husband was in the South Tower on 9/11 showing some lawyers some fabrics while she was parking. So she witnessed the collapse. It's her nephew who dresses the window. He said he's on a quest to fathom the fabric of existence, to weave the universe.
Some kind of philosopher, is he?
A physicist from Heidelberg, a student prodigy, till he dropped out.
Had a breakdown?
He didn't say.
Well, isn't that what prodigies are prone to? Well, don't turn around. We're being spied on by a woman. She's across the street with binoculars, about 5 floors up.
Should I take her picture?
No, take mine instead.
While Nathan snapped pictures, my sister Portia was watching. She was the first to notice and asked, why
is it for every 5 people who walk into Spindles, only 4 come out? You've heard of blood farms and organ brokers? What if Mrs. Spindles is draining and chopping up bodies and selling the parts online? Maybe the back room has a crematorium.
Or maybe it's a pit of hungry flesh-eating snakes.
Or maybe the back room has a back door.
It started last week when a man in a suit and a blind woman tapping her cane went in. Later, he came out with only the cane. Then, the next day, an old hunchback lady pushing a stroller walked in with a man. Later, he came out with only the stroller. Then, just yesterday, a teenage boy had his arm around an anorexic-looking girl. And later, she was replaced with a bolt of fabric. On top of that, I've seen dozens of girls walk in who never come out.
Haven't you got something better to do?
I think people go in there to dispose of ancient grannies and sick lovers, and suicides go in there to dispose of themselves. Maybe Mrs. Spindle's been drugged by psychos operating some kind of genocide factory. Only it's not ethnic or religious. They specialize in the sick and decrepit.
So who are these psychos?
She hires help sometimes. She does have a new guy working for her. It's hard to tell from up here, but it looks like the victims are mostly women. So maybe it's some kind of gender cleansing. Gendercide.
What?
Gendercide! It's happening all over. Now that parents can know the sex of their kids, girls are being aborted. Soon we'll be outnumbered 2 to 1 in China, India, and Christ knows where else. They're already kidnapping girls, selling them like dogs, and forcing them into slavery.
Okay, so maybe Spindles has a fabric that makes girls invisible.
Yeah, and sweeps them to heaven up the tunnel of light.
With a celestial chorus of relatives cheering them on.
Oh, that's the ticket.
Yeah, a fabric of immortality.
Or a fabric that makes girls dissolves the flesh and leaves the organs for transplants.
Now that's fucked up. Your sister's got a sick mind.
I'm serious. I've started taking notes. Specific time and dates. Who are these people and where do they go?
And what if they were never there to begin with? Maybe you're hallucinating.
Or maybe you're seeing ghosts.
You think because I'm dying, I can see the dead?
Well, those drugs you're taking have side effects.
But Georgette's seen them too. You said so.
Yeah, I've seen people go in and knock them out, but in between, I'm fixing supper or watching TV. I am not wasting my time staring at that dingy street. Of course, there is always something nice to look at in the window. Take a look at that red satin.
How it reflects the light. He has an artist eye. This window's inspired.
Well, you might say it's called the arrangement sumptuous or even sensual, but is it art?
Yeah?
Or simply good taste? It's one thing to have an instinct for spatial relationships. It's another to be original.
Oh, shush, Julian. You're being such a snob.
Completely and unapologetically.
Hold still.
There's a man down there taking pictures. You see that, don't you?
Yeah.
That's giving me an idea. That's how I'll get my evidence. I'll take pictures of people going in, but not coming out.
If they're not coming out, then how can you take their picture?
When they enter as couples and exit as singles.
Don't you think that if there was a place to dump the unwanted people of the world, they'd be lined up the street?
Baby, they'd be lined up to Jersey.
Take me there yourself.
Damn straight, I'd wheel you right through that door, except you still got enough electricity in you to light up the street.
Yeah, and I'm not leaving till I see my big sister happy. Speaking of which, how's Herschel?
So, are you dating anyone?
Not
No.
good.
My last date was a compulsive texter. She said I was a bore.
I bore him.
No way, baby, no way.
Oh yeah, baby. Herschel claimed to love music, but whenever I started to practice, he would plug in his earbuds. Which is fine, I mean,
I understand her need to connect, but just not with me.
Last week, I played Mendelssohn's Concerto, and I actually saw him cringe.
To hell with that bastard.
Forget the bitch.
There's plenty more sugar in the sea.
Do you ever think about switching sides?
Oh shit, he's looking up here. He just took my picture! That prick just took my picture. Get down there and tell him to fuck off.
I can't do that.
That one with the camera's a hot potato.
Oh, now there's another woman staring up.
Check him out. He's a stone cold stud with shoulders a mile wide. Take a look.
The one in the
there's
green
three of
shirt?
them.
No, honey, that boy's gay.
How can you tell?
How he shakes his skinny ass, that's how. The one on the right's the stud.
Damn it.
That cocky bastard. Now they're going inside.
What if they don't come out?
You penny, baby. We could use some more grass if you can get it. The pain's been bad lately and she stopped eating. She's been in those sorry me fits, if you know what I'm saying.
She's right here. I'm not deaf. But Georgette's right. I need some grass. And you need to forget about Herschel. If you don't stop wasting your time with guys like that, you're going to raise kids in a hostile home like us.
We're not that bad.
Then why does Mom want to put me in an asylum?
It's called assisted living.
You mean assisted dying? What I really want is an opium den so I can get high and then check out. Penny's promised to help me when the time comes.
What do you mean help you?
Drug me, drown me, or shoot me.
Well, now I can just take you right across the street.
Yeah, right.
Listen, I've seen the place Mom's looking into. It's a pre-war mansion on the Upper East Side. It's got a pool, a library, a dining room with chandeliers. You'd even have your own apartment.
But no Georgette. I finally found someone capable, and Mom wants to fire her.
Well, forgive me for saying this, but your ma's got a stick up her ass. She thinks I'm too low class, but caretaking was born in me. I nurse my mama and my sister's babies. I give great massages and check out her manicure.
Nice.
You tell your mama that I treat her like my own blood. Never mind. I'll tell her myself if she ever comes by.
She will. She just came back from Beijing.
Well, she's missing out. She hit the jackpot with you girls.
Did I tell you what my shrink says? He says I need to make friends with my body and then write about it. Can you fucking believe that? He wants me to suck up to my tumorous lungs and spine. And who knows when the rest of me is going to turn traitor. I wake up every morning feeling all shriveled up like Aunt Maisel. Rabbi Loden says that's what's fatal. The shrinking of the life force. Which is why you have to avoid guys like Herschel. If they don't like what you're doing now, they're going to hate it later, and then you'll start shrinking. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. I'm no expert. I never had a steady guy or even a father. Not that I'm complaining, it's just a fact. But I got Tiff now, so I'm happy.
Who's Tiff?
My partner, Tiffany.
You're gay?
Is that a problem?
No, I just didn't know.
'Cause it ain't no one's business. Portia guessed, but she's savvy. And she's helping me sew a Tiff a skirt with a split right up to her thighs.
Do you see that pale yellow fabric with the flowers? Wouldn't that make gorgeous curtains for your living room?
Yeah, that's perfect. How many yards do you think I'd need?
8 to be safe. Why don't you bring them to your friend Carla, and then I'll make pillows out of what's left. And while you're there, look around. Investigate.
Portia, what if I don't come back?
Don't worry, you're safe. They only take disposables like me.
You're not disposable, and I'm not a detective, but I will definitely buy the fabric.
Thanks, sis. You're the best.
Yeah, baby, you're prime. A real sweetheart.
Well, that's her problem. She's too sweet. We were going to compose operas. She was going to compose the operas, and I was going to design the costumes. We were collaborating on The Goddess Myths. She wrote an awesome song for Athena, and then quit. But I sketched through all the Greeks, Romans, and most of the Egyptians. They're in that book under that stack over there.
Can I see?
Sure.
Well, ain't this a kicker? Who knew you could draw like this? Shit, you are some talented lady.
You know, we could probably get them published. Oh, scan them into a website. You could even draw more.
No thanks. The final thing for the Doom to do is to create our final exits. The how, when, and where. At least I'm dying young, so I'll still be pretty. Unless you throw me under a bus and make a mess of it.
Will you stop being so morbid?
I like being morbid. Now I'm tired. I'm gonna lie down and stay if you'd like.
Can't. I have to go home and practice. Is there anything else we need?
Love, baby. What we need is love.
When I entered Spindle's fabric shop, Julian and Mrs. Spindle were talking about how the garment district is shrinking.
Like a pair of woolly socks. So will Spindles be joining the exodus?
Never. Years ago, we occupied all 6 floors. We had cutting rooms, sewing rooms. We were the largest supplier of fringe. Now I rent to ritzy lawyers and accountants. Spindles may be smaller, but we still stock the finest fabrics. No schmata here.
No, indeed.
I was just telling Julian how much I admire your windows.
Siegfried spends hours choosing which fabrics to hang and where to focus the lights.
Well, I like this jade velvet here. That would do wonders for my old shades.
That is imported from Milan.
Most of your fabrics are from China, isn't that right?
Of course, and India. Foreign labor is cheap, so the rich can get richer. 40 years ago, over 90% of our clothes were made in America. Now only 3%, but there are still hundreds of designers. More than London, Paris, and Milan combined. So yes, right that the garment district is shrinking, but we are still the heart and soul of the city. May I help you? Oh, Miss Penelope.
Hello, Mrs. Spindle.
It's so good to see you, my dear.
It's excellent to see you again. The shop is looking more beautiful than ever. I'm actually here to buy 8 yards of the pale yellow silk.
Oh, that's just arrived from Morocco. You have excellent taste.
Portia noticed it.
Ah, yes, we see her staring out the window.
Oh, you mean the woman with the binoculars?
Yes.
Nathan here just snapped her picture.
I hope I wasn't intrusive.
No, she's in a wheelchair and enjoys looking.
Why not? Every week she has a new window to admire. I'm glad someone else appreciates them.
Well, actually, she's focused on the door. She has a very vivid imagination, so she thinks she sees people going in but not out. That they disappear.
They do.
Oh, Siggy, you startled me. This is my nephew, Siegfried.
Hi, this is Julian, and I'm Nathan. We came by last week to discuss taking pictures.
Yes, I remember. But you are Penelope Melton, as a famous violinist. I see you walk past every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yes, I visit my sister.
we call her the Sentinel. You play with the Philharmonic, yeah?
Yes. Excuse me, but did you say that people disappear?
Through the folds, conduits of deep, dense magnetic microfibers that lead to an adjacent universe. You may have heard of the string theory, which posts 12 possible different dimensions, but I think there are upwards of 20 that are composed of tiny, visibly vibrating threads that we are just a minuscule patch.
So you're a theorist, are you?
Gravitational physics is my field, but time interests me most now.
Me too. It's a for a pity it can't be slowed or stopped altogether.
Why not? What is time but a measure of movements of objects in space? It's not necessarily continuous, but even inevitable because it contains certain leptons that reflect light. In fact, I think time can be bent and folded and envelop people centuries apart.
Well, that would be quite the costume party.
Yeah, as a guest would be a great parade of characters from centuries apart.
The living and the dead?
Well, in somewhere in time, we are all living.
Siegfried is a clever boy. In Frankfurt, he skipped 3 grades and won the science prize every year.
Well, I'm impressed.
He was the youngest ever admitted to the University of Heidelberg.
Oh, that was years ago.
He was invited to Geneva.
Oh, please, Auntie,
To
stop.
observe the construction of the Large Hadron Collider.
Well, tell me, aren't you bored here? I mean, can you unravel mysteries of the universe while unraveling bolts of bunting?
Well, they aren't different vocations. I mean, after all, the microscope was discovered by a draper, von Leeuwenhoek. He was a Dutchman. He grounds the lenses down so he could count the threads. Here I have learned to appreciate the textures of textiles and the variety of colors and manifold forms.
Excuse me, but the people who disappear, have you actually seen them?
Yeah. It begins when they strut the fabrics and the fingers fall in, and before they can cry out their entire bodies, and they're just sucked in as if suction through a veritable wormhole. It happens so quickly, it's as if it's in the blink of an eye.
In a blink or a wink?
Well, where does it happen? Which fabric?
It varies since it's not the fabric, but the shape that it takes. It's always on two sides of the shop, so when the fabric folds and pleats and crimps, they create unique topographies and geometric progressions and juxtapositions that beckon only to certain people.
Which people?
Dylan, he's pulling your leg.
Which people?
I don't know them.
My sister thinks it could be the sick and decrepit.
Perhaps some of them left their canes.
Umbrellas! Customers leave umbrellas. Please, Siki, tell them you're joking.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to alarm you.
I mean, if people actually disappeared, then there would be investigations. Friends and family would have to notice.
Well, I don't know. People are all staring at screens these days. Although I have to admit, I love the idea of bringing my neighbor, Mr. Wiggin. He's a miserable old coot. Always keeps his television on scream level. If I could dispatch him to an alternative universe, my entire building would rejoice.
But it's only women who disappear, according to my sister.
More women enter the shop.
Siki, stop talking nonsense.
Auntie, please. This is the most conversation I have had in weeks, so I relish every moment. Please. Could you please tell us more about your sister? We observe her companion pushing her past every day.
Portia had lung cancer, spread to her spine, and is inoperable.
I am very sorry.
So tragic for someone so young. She used to come here to buy fabrics for costumes.
Would you mind if I took your picture?
Yes, well, we'll title it The Window Dresser.
Oh, it's a window draper? That's what my uncle Jacob called himself, a draper.
My Jacob had a poet's heart. He said when doors opened and fabrics fluttered, they were expressing the language of the winds and breezes. He believed there was a fabric for everyone, a particular fiber, weave, and color that suited each of us.
So tell me, what would Siggy's fabric be here? A spandex?
Oh, that's very clever. No, I prefer the bombazine here.
Well, I like whatever this is here. It's linen, right?
Yes, a fine Belgian weave made from flaxen fibers.
Well, I would like a summer suit of that. So tell me, what would you recommend for my friend Nathan here?
I would not presume to choose for someone I do not know.
I guess my fabric's denim. What about you, Penelope?
Oh, I don't know.
How about this fine Venetian lace?
And what would you choose for me, Ziggy?
Only the most fantastic cashmere from the underbelly of a Tibetan goat.
Would you mind standing by your window?
If Penelope stands with me,
Is that all right?
Sure.
Is there something weird with your eyes?
heterochromia iridium. One eye is amber, the other is blue. I am told it's very rare.
Maria? Great.
Are you going to take a picture of Aunt Katrina?
Oh,
Sure.
no, I'm not looking my
Oh,
best.
please, Auntie. Just us, the last two spindles.
Well, if you insist.
Just stand by that table. Smile. I'll be bringing by copies next week.
Here's your fabric, my dear.
Would you play your violin first before you go?
You want me to play here, right now?
Why not? You could sit in this chair here.
Or if Mrs. Spindle and these gentlemen don't mind.
Oh, please, play.
By all means.
Yes, dear, please.
What an exquisite instrument.
Handmade of mahogany.
And the strings?
Silver threads wound over the cords of intestines of Norwegian sheep. I'm told they produce unique frequencies. I'll play one of Chopin's nocturnes. What I didn't mention was that these frequencies tune me into the secret channels of my listeners' secret thoughts. Portia says they're delusional projections, but I noticed Julian staring at Siegfried.
He's freaking nuts.
Then I heard Katrina.
If only I could protect him.
I watched Siegfried's eyes wander.
Notice apartment particles just dancing.
What's he gawking at?
The quacks and the squawks.
What does he see?
And the gluons and the muons.
Nathan looked at him with pity.
He's wasted here. Poor Sig.
Siggy, let's just hope he's taking his meds.
And then he focused on me.
Behold her now.
He's staring at her.
Remember Havel.
His eyes filled
With lust.
with longing.
She surrenders herself to the sound as I surrender
My heart. Is it because I desire her?
Desire her?
Now that boy is staring.
Now, Nathan is leering.
Is it the music or the girl?
Are they in
Are
love?
they in love?
This moment is transitory.
Time stands
And
still.
stand still.
As I played, I knew the sentinel would be watching at the window, wondering why I hadn't left yet. Later, Georgette recounted every anxious word.
Where the fuck is she?
Oh, chill. She's probably just looking at all them pretty fabrics.
No, something's wrong. I can feel it. None of them have come out yet.
Well, maybe she's getting acquainted.
Or maybe they're dead.
Maybe, or maybe everybody in the whole world has gone into spindles except cockroaches and buzzards.
Oh, shut up and get down there.
No way, not without you.
I'm your employer, damn it, and I insist.
You can insist until all the cows come home, but I ain't setting foot out of this door unless you come with me.
You're upsetting me.
Tough shit. I'm sick and tired of you sitting here day after day. Now let's go.
But what if he's there?
So what if he is?
What if they like each other? What if they've met?
So are you worried about her being dead or getting it on with some man that you don't even know?
Both. But you're wrong. I do know him.
Well, if you want to meet the man, now's your chance. Of course, you better take a good look around. It could be your last.
I guess you're right. I'll miss my old books, my desk, my computer, my clothes.
No more laundry.
Goodbye to my china, goodbye to my crystal.
No more cooking, no cleaning, no trash.
No more doctors, no more aches, no more pains.
Come on, girl, let's go.
By the time I finished playing, I felt feverish. The air in the shop seemed denser and perfumed by a forest of pines.
That's a sublime.
Bravo, darling, bravo.
I would love to hear you play with your orchestra.
Then come as my guest, all of you.
Thank Christ you're all right.
I told you she was fine.
Oh dear, am I interrupting a concert?
No, I just finished. Mrs. Spindle, you remember my sister Portia and Mrs. Georgette.
Hello. This is my nephew, Siegfried.
What a pleasure to finally meet you.
Hi, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Julian.
It is so good to see you, my dear.
My legs don't work, but I can still thread a needle. God, this place is gorgeous. Now that we're here, let's take a look around.
Portia, would you like to see our newest shipment of Shanghai silk from Shanghai?
Yes, absolutely.
It's just in the back. Would you like me to get it for you?
Or I could just follow you.
Fine.
Well, would you look at that? She's finally found her friends. Don't tell her I told you. She's been eyeballing each other for weeks. My, look at all this pretty fabric.
Pongee from Thailand in 12 different shades.
I'd like to see you again if you're free for dinner. That is if you're single or not married.
No, I'm not married.
These are our finest fabrics made from the larvae of the Bombox moroi.
So, Mrs. Spindle, are you adept with a needle as well?
Of course. I began as an assistant to a dressmaker in Frankfurt. Then I moved here with my cousin to work for Ezra Spindle. That's where I met Jacob. He was a cutter then. Now they use lasers.
So, were you a cutter as well?
Oh, no. I worked in the sewing room until I was promoted to pattern maker. We were all union workers. Very proud, very productive.
So, were you serious about inviting us to a concert?
Yes, I'll send you a schedule. We're performing a series of Bach's orchestral suites.
Thanks. So, do you think Bach composed his own melodies, or were they already there for him to discover?
Mathematicians ask the same thing about equations.
Really? What do you think, Penelope? Or should I call you Penny?
Hey, what the fuck? Where's Portia?
Portia.
What the hell's going on here?
Oh my gosh.
Portia?
Portia, baby, where are you?
Nun, was sollen wir tun?
What are you saying?
I thought she was behind me.
Well, she ain't.
Perhaps she has gone
Where?
to a world not of our
Well,
own.
bring her back to this one, because she needs her shots.
Let's check the back room. She has to be there.
Without her chair?
She can't walk. Somebody's taking her.
Has anyone else entered the shop?
Not that I noticed. I thought I saw her by the organza.
There's nobody back there and the door was locked.
Oh, maybe she stepped out the front.
How? What kind of crazy shit's going on here?
The enigma of hidden fields.
Speak English.
Less than 20% of matter is visible. The rest is dark and magnetic.
What the fuck, mister? You're responsible for this.
Hey, Nathan, take a picture of the empty chair.
Give me your phone. I'm calling the cops.
In 10 minutes, 2 cars carrying 4 policemen came to interrogate us. They requested a picture of Portia, and then informed us that every day nearly 2,000 people are reported missing, as many as 100 from the city, and some were last seen in the garment district. Later, my mother stopped by, and she blamed Portia because she's unpredictable.
Capricious. So maybe when you weren't looking, she walked out and flagged a cab.
No way, man. Her legs are too weak.
What if she went into remission again and didn't let on? Did she take her purse?
She can't stand, much less go running off. Trust me
You
on
shouldn't
this.
have let her out of your sight.
Yeah, I fucked up.
So you think someone snatched her? Just whisked her away? But why? Why on earth would anyone kidnap an invalid?
What, for ransom? For sex? I don't know. They're questioning all the tenants in the building, and Siegfried's been driven to the station.
Who's Siegfried?
Mrs. Spindle's nephew.
That boy is creepy. Stay away from him.
He thinks that Portia's been drawn into another dimension.
You're not serious.
Oh, yes. And Portia was drawn to him, up here from her window.
Yeah, well, she noticed things. People going into Spindles and not coming out.
Did you tell the police?
Well, they're
Yeah.
looking everywhere. They're tearing the place apart.
Is this Siegfried dangerous?
No.
Yes.
Listen, there wasn't time enough for him to hide her. I'd just gone straight home, and she would have seen me leave and stayed here.
Well, I'm the fool that let her
But
go.
if I hadn't agreed to play...
Oh, shush. All we can do now is wait. Can't believe she's still living in this dismal apartment. Did Portia tell you that she and Penny grew up here?
Yeah.
Even Persian rugs can't hide its shabbiness. I'm sure you keep it clean, but I can't help imagining nests in the walls.
Then it's a good thing you don't live here anymore. Look, ladies, I can't just sit here and wait around. I'm going to start looking. I'm going to take a stroll up the street.
Before you go, we need to talk. As soon as Portia's found, I'm going to insist she be moved to Houghton House. Please don't take this personally. I appreciate everything you've done. But they have a full-time staff, and Dr. Madras said that eventually she'll need a ventilator and round-the-clock nursing.
Well, then maybe she won't turn up at all. Nothing personal.
How dare you? Don't you think I feel terrible, responsible? I can't bear to see her suffer.
Yeah, 'cause you barely ever visit.
That's because my business, which pays your salary, forces me to travel. If you had children, you'd understand. It's hell knowing someone you brought into the world is having to endure a hideous, humbling decline. My beautiful, bright, shining daughters should be living healthy, happy, fulfilling lives. The hell could she be? Christ, I hate waiting. It's all so wrong, so fair. Parents are supposed to die first.
And my mother thinks that people aren't really adults until their parents die.
So when your folks pass, you can do what you want. No questions asked?
That's right. Mine passed years ago. But now people cheat. They live on and on with chronic diseases, burden their children, and their moronic doctors let them.
Well, that's true enough, but if it weren't for doctors, God would let people pass sooner in their own beds.
Absolutely. Though God has nothing to do with it.
Well, I'm a Christian, so I know he does. But when I meet him, I'm going to give him a good licking for letting girls like Portia get sick when she should be dancing, dating, and drawing pictures.
He was so happy in that shop. He was actually smiling.
Look, I'm useless here. I'm going back to the office. I'll find out who to call, make sure the right people make Portia's case a priority. Call me the minute you hear anything. Goodbye, Georgette.
Bye.
Georgette, if we don't find Portia, promise me you'll tell me everything I didn't get to hear.
Sure. But she had issues, stuff she was stuck on, like that geek across the street. She'd be watching and waiting for that
Man at
Spindle.
Spindles is so handsome, with the posture of an aristocrat. He's obviously European. The blue-blooded Duke of Damask. Sometimes he'll look up and we'll lock eyes, and I'll feel the blood rushing through my veins.
Oh, yeah?
Watch how he drapes the fabric. How he moves his hand like a dancer. Sometimes he'll look up for approval, and I'll nod. He'll smile as if he decorated the window just for me. As if he knows I'm a wreck, and he's doing it out of pity, so something lovely to look at.
Well, maybe he's just flirting.
Then maybe I should flirt back, huh? Maybe unbutton my blouse and let him see my breasts.
What are you thinking? Shoving your titties in his face?
It's hardly in his face from up here. Have you noticed how he's always alone? So maybe he's a poet living in exile?
Or a convict hiding out with his mama?
The Spindles never had children.
I bet he's illegal. I bet he can't speak a word of English.
Who needs words? I'll pretend he's draping that pearly pink satin over my naked shoulders. Oh God, he's looking up here. Oh, he's waving.
Oh, at least he was a distraction.
Distraction, girl. She wanted to spread him on a bagel and sip him down with a cup of coffee.
Georgette, what's that? Portia's favorite color. Where did it come from?
Well, the window's open. It could have blown in.
There's no wind.
It could have blown off a trash truck.
There's not even a breeze.
Could have dropped from the next floor up.
Maybe.
Hell, it could have dropped from a beak of a bird.
Or Portia dropped it from a world not our own.
Yeah, I'm going to keep looking in this one. You coming?
Yeah, I'll leave the door unlocked in case she lost her keys or something.
Okay.
With the door unlocked, you could have easily entered to install your spyware. So you know that for the next 3 days, Georgette and I combed the streets, posting pictures and questioning everyone from 34th to 42nd Street between 5th Avenue and 9th. Mother's friends put pressure on the mayor, so there was a citywide search with volunteers combing the boroughs in all directions. Meanwhile, newspaper and internet articles went up with titles like Material Witness and Fatal Fabrications. We thought Spindles would close, but new drapes adorned the window, security cameras were installed, and curious customers went in, but not always out. I know, because I moved into Portia's apartment, and in between rehearsing and performing, I became the sentinel. Later that week, Nathan stopped by with the
Pictures of you I took of Siegfried came out well, don't you think? You could see the adoration in his eyes.
Well, I see deception, and he sees us. Is he always gawking up here?
Well, he usually waves and then goes away.
Well, beware degenerate stalkers.
I thought you said he was dashing.
He is. But then again, so's the devil. Oh, there he goes, back into his lair.
And this is of Siegfried holding your hand. Julian thinks he's mad.
Worse. I think he's a perverse predator who actually knows a lot more than what he's saying. I did a background check on old Siggy, and he's for real. A genuine prodigy. A real rock star. Until he wigged out. Turns out that his father and his grandfather used to repair clocks, so his interest in time is a family tradition.
What about his mother?
Well, his mother, she was a seamstress from Romania, who, according to local legend, the souls of the dead were incarnated into vampire moths that needed to be impaled on pins so that they wouldn't feast on the villagers.
Now Julian's calling Siegfried a vampire.
Well, Nathan, all you have to do is look into his venomous eyes, his pale white skin. It's obvious that he never goes into the sun. Well, I'm being facetious, of course, but according to his neighbors, he always stays inside. He's a real recluse. He stays in while his auntie trots off to temple and keeps kosher and observes the Sabbath.
None of us really know them.
Well, what we do know is that the police have found umbrellas with the fingerprints of 9 missing women. Now, that only proves that they entered the shop. But the statistics are alarming. Dozens of women go missing every day. Their files are kept open for 2 weeks, and rarely are any of the women ever found. But even in this case of your sister, darling, I mean, there's been no progress, despite all the publicity.
And anxiety, thanks to your exploitive articles, with your pictures.
Darling, that's ridiculous. We've made Spindles famous. Business is booming, and my blog has gone viral. Actually, that's why we're here. Well, actually, that's why I'm here. Listen, Siggy and his auntie are really pissed. And I know that you're smitten, or Siggy's smitten with you, so I was wondering if you could do me a favor and serenade him a little bit and find out a little bit more about some of his thoughts and his theories. I'd be forever in your debt, and you'd be helping with the investigation.
I'm already investigating, and as a duty to my sister. When I practice by the window, I notice it's still happening. People go in, but not out. So I record the dates and times.
Have you told the police?
Not yet.
Have you been back into the shop?
No.
Is it because you sensed something sinister?
No.
Jesus, Julian, quit badgering her.
Sorry, love, sorry. But here's what we know. All the women missing have 2 things in common. They're gravely ill and that they sew. So either Spindles is offering some type of freakish form of euthanasia, or maybe Siggy's come up with some clandestine website to lure women into the shop.
I doubt it. My mother spoke to the captain in charge, who installed cameras.
Cameras cover every inch of Spindles. He showed me one of the videos. The shop was full of people with Katrina at the cutting table. Then off to the side was a frail, jaundiced woman examining swags of taffeta. Then suddenly she wasn't there. There was no slow fade, just 1 second she was visible, and the next poof. Only when he saw the video could you see she was pulled or snatched away.
Just like Siegfried said.
They accused him of tampering with the equipment, but their technicians proved he hadn't. He kept 2 computers in the back room, which were confiscated. One had files filled with equations that were sent to mathematicians at Princeton, Columbia, and NYU. Of course, he's still a suspect, but Katrina told them that you're to blame.
Me? Why? Does she think I hired someone to snatch my own sister?
As a matter of fact, that's exactly what she thinks. Seems our dear Portia told her doctors, who told the police, that you were helping to plan her suicide. Is that true?
No. I mean, yes. But only because she begged me. No, I wasn't.
Shh. Calm down, dear. I believe you. Tomorrow, I think I'll go to Spindles and speak to Katrina myself.
Please be careful, and whatever you do, don't touch
Don't
the fabric.
touch the fabrics. That's my advice to any woman who enters the shop. Now, of course, I'm no physicist, but Siggy's theories all seem like cheap sci-fi to me. But that's not the point. Darling, we need to find out what's going on in that shop. So here's my card with my private number on it. Please give me a call when you find something out. Ciao. Nathan, are you coming?
No.
Fine.
This is a picture I took of your sister on the side when she's being wheeled into the shop.
She's smiling. Portia rarely smiled. May I keep it?
Of course. And this is one of Siegfried kissing her hand like he's her Romeo.
Well, he was in a way. I mean, they'd flirt from across the street. Can I have this one too?
Sure. So, do you ever escape from here?
Well, for rehearsals. Although yesterday my violin string snapped. Even though I'm the one unstrung, and I'm always daydreaming and looping back to the past. Just tied to memories of Portia. Her disappointment.
I think I understand what you mean. I had a cousin who died of leukemia. It was difficult being around someone who was always so miserable.
Portia was furious, as if her body had consciously conspired against her. She loved fantasizing about trading lives with people who she thought were wasting theirs. She loved to tell me what she would do with my body if it were hers.
Was that anything different than you were doing with it?
Oh, yes. She'd dye my hair red and wear
Boots and date artists.
Would you still play the violin?
Of course. It's the only interesting thing about you. But my music would be original and played all over the cities where people died. Like crash sites and burned buildings and where the towers collapsed. My melodies would alter toxic vibrations, resolve wars and poverty, and affect the fetuses of pregnant women so they only gave birth to girls. Since the world would be a much safer place if women were in charge. Oh, there are good men out there. You'll never find one.
And why is that?
Because you have terrible taste.
Well, if you think you can do better.
Oh, I can't. I don't have time.
You don't know that. You have to change your attitude.
Obviously, Mummy Dearest hasn't informed me of the latest test results. Like it or not, this hot body, it's on its way to being smoke and ash. But I will float down to haunt you if you don't stop wasting your time playing other people's music.
Those other people are Bach, Beethoven, and the world's greatest composers. And I happen to be playing in the best orchestra in the country. Why can't you be happy for me?
Because you're not happy with yourself. Because I resent you getting to grow old. Because dying doesn't enable people like me. It just pisses us off. My shrink says I'm in the anger stage. So I'm taking it out on you. Because you act like you have all the time in the world while you don't.
Why not?
Are you going to kill me? No. You'll be dead soon enough. You already have wrinkles and gray hair.
Where?
There and there. You'll probably get fat like Grandma Melton, too. You have her genes. So you'll get diabetes, lose your toes, maybe even your legs. Not to mention your sight.
I think I'd better go.
Right, before I humiliate you even more.
You don't. Not really. Because I believe you that you're pissed. Because you've been cheated, and that's totally unfair. Mom's angry, and so am I. I'm losing my only sister. And who else is going to witness my hideous decline?
Oh, you'll find someone, some guy to watch you rot. He'll be a dick, but you'll have your music, and you'll travel and have kids. But I wouldn't even get to see who I'd have become. And I would have been fucking great. The hottest designer in the city.
In the country?
In the world.
Designing Broadway musicals.
New operas and ballets. Yeah. I told my shrink I had this fantasy. That scar on my chest is a zipper. And it opens me up and peels me back like a coat. And then out inside is a new Portia who pops out. Perfect.
I wish there was something I could do.
Would you give me a kidney?
Of course. And a lung, and a slice of my liver, because you already have my heart.
Oh. If you're serious, if you really want to help me, there's something you can do. When the time comes.
Do you remember how Mrs. Spindle said there was a fabric that suited everyone? Portia's silk became a burlap so coarse it would make her bleed. It's funny, but I even miss her insults.
Did she have a boyfriend?
Well, nothing serious. Not until she started mooning over Siegfried.
Speak of the devil, there he is wrapping himself in the drapes.
It's translucent, like a chiffon.
Have you seen him do this before?
No, never.
I told Julian gets to hear of this. What's he up to?
People, they wrap themselves for comfort.
I gotta get a picture of this.
Please don't.
Oh, damn, I think he saw us. He's shivering. Let me wrap you for comfort.
Well, since you're spying on my most intimate moments, you'll know that Nathan didn't leave until morning. Later, my mother came by, and you already know everything I do because my violin was in great form. Silver strings vibrating, picking up the resonant ripples of Katrina's thoughts, her complaints about the police, and how
They resent his genius.
But what can you expect from the bureaucratic bullies who cannot comprehend an original mind? Now, what was it you wanted? Some answers to a few questions? We've heard enough questions from reporters, meddlers, the police touching everything. I'm sorry about Portia, but we have nothing more to say.
Apparently you told them that Penelope's to blame. And now she's a suspect.
She has a motive, the detectives told me.
Did they show you the videos of the women disappearing? Penny was nowhere near here. How could she possibly be responsible? Look, I realize the publicity has been...
Lies. It's all lies. Did you see the police? Did you see them drive Siegfried away like he was a common criminal? In front of everyone? Did you see?
Yes, but he's back now. He's free.
Men like Siegfried can never be free.
Why not? What happened to him? Please tell me. I want to understand. To be a friend.
What friend? We never see you anymore. Now you're some fat cat executive taking business outside the country. Shame on you.
Believe me, Katrina, I'm just a small spoke in the wheel of commerce.
That wheel leaves tracks of poverty while you live like the Queen of Sheba.
Yes, but I had a husband who drank himself to death and left me with a dying daughter who I'm told spent hours staring out her window at Siegfried.
He cannot help that women find him charming. I did not want him here at first, but what a godsend. He assists with orders, arranges stocks, and even seems to delight in arranging the fabrics. Do you remember when you worked in your parents' shop? Your grandparents came here to be with American Jews, the descendants of great craftsmen and textile merchants. Now look at us, surrounded by Asians. No one speaks the same language. Well, here's the Jews they cannot drive away. I still miss Jacob. Though it was years ago, I still see the towers crumbling down. Do you know what else I saw? Fragments. Floating, spiraling down. Wisps of reds, greens, and yellows. And do you know what they were? Spotches. Spotches from Spindle's samples. And they still keep falling.
Where?
In dreams.
The next evening, I crossed the street to see Siegfried, where Katrina greeted me with a hostile hello. I was hoping to speak with Siegfried.
He's working in the back room.
I'll come back later.
I prefer you leave him alone. I'm afraid he feels too much for you. He watches you and steps out on the streets when you play. He also frets about the missing women and wonders if you're responsible.
Well, I'm not. How could I be?
We all live in a world of someone else's making.
Siggy,
The question is, whose world has been made?
the lady was just leaving.
Please, Auntie, let her stay.
Fine, then I will leave. Try not to be late for dinner.
You just said we live in a world of someone else's making. Why would it be mine and not yours?
Because my world would be full of beautiful, talented women like yourself.
Mine would be full of healthy people leading fulfilling lives.
So why are you here?
To find out why sick and desperate women really come to Spindles. Is it to escape or to die?
The why I cannot answer, but the how is obvious. It's obvious there is a portal here. And it's hard to believe things that you cannot see or imagine.
I might, if you tell me more.
I'm trying to solve the problem with electrodynamics, which explains how light and the material world interact. I mean, can women just vanish into beams of invisible waves and reappear somewhere else? Can subatomic particles weave our realities that reconciles everything with quantum mechanics and desperate human beings?
Well, can they?
So far, I have no answers, and neither do the police. But it's weird. No one sought to bring a compass. But look, if I stand here next to the compass, the Polar North meter goes haywire. And why? But why this wall, in this shop, in this city? Means the detectives start to look besides the drape to see if there was a hidden door, but they never pulled it aside. And I didn't think of it until yesterday.
Oh my God.
More. There are thousands of them clinging to the fabrics. And they are not like any I have ever seen before.
Well, maybe they're not from around here. I mean, I know Portia and the moon fly out, and moths fly in. Maybe your wormhole's a moth hole.
But did the moths fly through, or simply materialize, or did they just come in the mail from China? It wouldn't be the first time that we've gotten infested fabrics. Oh, but when my aunt sees them, she's going to want them exterminated.
Don't let Julian see them, or he's going to claim they're your Romanian ancestors.
Yes, he is calling me the vampire physicist, or in another article it was the demon draper, and in the Times it was the garment district golem. But as for my Romanian roots, my ancestors may have been superstitious, but my mother's people were all well-educated Jews. They swatted moths like flies.
That's so bright. I mean, are you sure they're not butterflies?
No. Butterflies prefer the light, and the moths fly at night. And these have fat, furry little bodies that make sounds from the body. It's too high-pitched for human ears, but I recorded it and amplified it. Just listen.
God, there's a melody. Like 1,000 microscopic violins.
Yeah. So it's strange to see them clinging to the velvets. The synthetic fabrics and fibers. Normally they would cling to the woolens.
Well, does that matter?
Everything matters. Even our own spatial positions alter particles at every level that we observe. But it means true objectivity of reality is impossible to perceive, much less measure. So you have to trust your own instincts.
Well, what if my instincts are telling me to consult a psychic?
Well, we have had several here. One thought she saw veiled figures wafting about. But do you realize that if we uncover a new conduit to another dimension, it will revolutionize physics? I mean, they've already captured the Higgs boson, which explains the presence of mass. But imagine finding uncharged particles that move over 300,000 kilometers per second. I mean, that would mean the possibility of intergalactic travel faster than the speed of light.
But to where?
Who can say? I mean, there could be a hyperdimensional broadcloth right in front of our noses.
Do you think Portia could be there? Watching us?
There are questions which no explanations or formulas seem possible, not even in the principles. Love, for example, doesn't lend itself to scientific analysis.
No. Some people aren't given time enough to find it.
Time can be a miser, but it's still composed of moments. I mean, some transcendent, or you might say divine. For me, your music creates divine moments in a life full of mundane moments of necessity and distraction.
Believe me, I also experience mundane moments.
Then perhaps you could find time for me, even just to perform your music.
I'll play for you every day if you help me find my sister.
I wish I had the talents, never mind the tools, which may not even exist yet. Or perhaps the tools are very familiar, like your violin.
I've tried reaching Portia with music. I've played her favorite Mendelssohn and Brahms, but what if she's trying to reach me? I mean, I keep finding scraps, like she's dropping them from somewhere. They're never any bigger than a napkin. I brought some.
It's filled gabardine.
And another.
Or flannel.
They remind me of swatches we would collect as children when we wanted to make a memory quilt. Or the ones Katrina saw when the towers fell. If we're living in a world not our own, what if it's Katrina's?
Then it would be dark and dreary. You know, my doctor said that she has two kinds of patients. Ones that seek to soar, and the others who fear it and hide away like a clam. But I prefer to fly, especially when I'm with you.
You know, I saw you 2 nights ago. You were wrapped up like a mummy.
Oh, that, you must think I am mad. But it was an experimental cocoon, an attempt to find a new perspective through meditation. So I focus on the weaves of the threads under my fingers, and I shut out all consciousness. And I just whispered to myself, be a moth. Be a moth. Be a moth.
Well, what happened?
Nothing. My mind wandered to deep, depressing thoughts of life only being a fabrication of illusions, and that you might be an illusion.
Well, I'm not. And neither of these moths.
Then I will trust my blue eye to stay focused on reality.
Why the blue eye?
Well, the amber fixates on practical pursuits, but the blue perceives beauty, and it could stare at you for hours.
Or she just stared at you. Were you attracted to her?
Yeah, but not in the way that I am attracted to you, which is physically and desperately. When you first played here, when your bow touched the strings, I thought of Schwarzschild's radius, the point at which light reflecting off an object loses so much energy that it falls into an abyss that nothing can get out of, not even a shadow. That's how I felt. At a point of no return. I should call it Spindle's radius. But when I am with you, I forget that I want to be somewhere else.
Where?
In Geneva, accelerating particles. But you accelerate my heart, and your music makes everything I've ever wanted seem irrelevant.
I don't know what to say.
Then don't say anything and just...
Hello? There you are. Am I interrupting anything?
No.
Yeah, our hearts beating time.
Hello? There you are. Was I interrupting anything?
No.
Yeah, our hearts beating time.
Did you forget that I made reservations? I've
I
been
am
ringing at the doorbell
so
for 10
sorry.
minutes.
Can you call and say we'll be late?
I've already called. I have a car waiting.
Siegfried, I'm sorry. I'll play for you tomorrow. I just have to run and grab my shawl. It'll only be a minute.
I think I know how you feel about Penelope, and I'm pretty sure I feel the same. So whatever happens, I hope we can all stay friends.
That is not possible. Perhaps you and I could stay friends, but Penelope means much more to me. She makes me proud to be an American.
Then I guess she'll make her choice.
What choice? What do I have to offer? I started out with more than my share, and now I am just the poor relation in the spare room. And a convicted criminal, a possibly convicted criminal at that. So much for the hubris that I was destined to do. Great things. But that's what draws me to Penelope. The fact that she can accept me for what I have become.
Can't you still become what you wanted to be?
Physicists blossom early like chess players and musicians. I'm already a relic.
Look, I don't know how Penelope feels, but I'm sure she's pleased that you appreciate her music in the way that some of us don't.
You will. But appreciation doesn't support a future, a family, children, vacations to Florida. It's the American dream.
Stability isn't everybody's dream. And it looks like Penelope can provide for herself.
Even if I won her heart, I might crush it. With the feelings I've suppressed in her absence, feelings I have never felt before, this desire to possess and protect a woman. But then I think, what are my feelings compared to my aunt's who lost the only man she will ever love? I'm sorry, I am rambling and full of self-pity. I do not sleep much.
Does she come by often?
We are attempting to solve what your friend has pinned, the case of the vanishing virgins, though. How can he know?
He can't. Julian takes outrageous liberties. I bet you'd like to kill him.
Yeah. But between his lies and the police dispersing my files, I have attracted quite a bit of attention, and they want me to come to Princeton next Thursday.
That's fantastic. You're going, right?
Yeah, my aunt wants me to attend a university to become a professor myself, but I would need financial assistance.
Then apply for scholarships. I'm sure there's grants for housing so you can study and move full time.
Ah, yes. So you can court Penelope while Siggy is off buried studying Grand Unified Series.
Siegfried, I brought your present. A CD of everything waltzes.
It's very generous of you.
We really need to get going. So long, Sig.
Be a moth.
Were you listening to them dropping by in shifts? Mother and Georgette in the mornings, and then Nathan and Julian at night. Georgette noticed
The police are back, prowling the streets. Something's up. Oh, he's looking up here with his goo-goo eyes again. He probably gets all juiced up just hearing you play.
Really, Georgette, your language.
Siegfried's not an ogre. He's just lonely.
Oh, yeah? Then how come I want to go down there and slap him and ask him what the fuck's going on?
He doesn't know.
Bullshit.
So tell me, what have you found out?
I am not your spy, and you're lucky the Spindles don't sue you for slander. You turned them into a freak show.
A freak show that's tripled sales, attracted groupies, and increased my following. In case you haven't noticed, well, Skaggy's dressed in the part, skulking about and wearing black.
He's always worn black.
Well, it suits him.
You have no conscience.
Why are you so defensive? Have you two bonded?
We're friends.
Are you more than friends?
That's none of your business.
Are you?
Really, Nathan?
Are you two fucking?
Jesus,
dare you.
Julian.
Well, just don't let him near your neck.
You're forgetting that our sister's still missing.
Oh, I'm sorry, love. But trust me, after this much time, the question remains, where are all
Where
the
are the
bodies?
bodies? That's what I want to know.
It's the enormity of the situation. It's the reversal of logic.
What if I bring my Ouija board?
It's unfortunate that everyone knows about your suicide pact.
Suicide pact gives you motive. This place might be bugged.
Julian thinks this place is bugged.
Infrared cameras can pick up voices through glass.
They're listening.
Microcams fit on the nib of a pen.
They're spying.
Look out the window. There's closed-circuit TV cams mounted up the street.
Big Brother's watching.
You can't take a piss without some mother staring up your ass.
My advice is to
Avoid Spindles.
How could I investigate if I can't visit the crime scene?
That's
not your job.
Yes, it is. Portia isn't just my sister. She's my best friend, and I miss her. It's hard watching her suffer, but it's worse not knowing.
That's because you haven't had to witness the indignities of dying.
Well, even before we were born, God knew our stories. He had his reasons.
So what's Portia's? A grim fairy tale?
Gothic horror.
A myth. Once upon a time.
Portia was dispatched by a villainous physicist with mismatched eyes.
Portia was cursed and crippled, her bones turned to stones.
Portia spied a loose thread in the fabric of fate, so she followed it.
Where?
To a room with giant looms for a sisterhood of weavers, and they wove a shroud to protect the planet. And Portia emerged, healed, heroic, and lived
Live happily ever after, darling. That's a fairy tale. We're all of us doomed.
No wonder your sister was so depressed. It's this
This
apartment.
apartment has to go. Let's sell it. And then never set foot in the city again.
How can you say that? All our lives, our work, everything is here. Even Portia's perfume's been absorbed into the walls, and everything she chose and cherished.
They've also absorbed her suffering, and
It's affecting you. Living in this apartment, you're becoming paranoid.
Now listen, I've been offered a position with a textile firm in Los Angeles.
I'm moving to Canada. Come with me.
I can't. I just sold my condo to a cellist. I'm moving in.
You can't be serious.
He thinks the girl's Smith.
Is it Siegfried?
I'll All I know is that I feel a compelling need to be here. Now, if you don't mind, I have practice for a concert on Friday.
I have an interview. Ciao.
I have to shoot a wedding.
I have a question. You ain't hot for that geek across the street.
Well, why would I tell you? You hate him.
Yeah, but I ain't a good judge of men.
Well, I'm glad you can admit it.
You gonna answer my question?
No. No, I really do need to practice. Say if you'd like.
No, thanks. I've got myself a new patient. But before I go, Portia was making you a present. It's in here. Embroidered by her own hands. She said she was making the wings periwinkle blue.
is her favorite color.
Oh, sit down, girl. You're as white as chalk. It's a shame she didn't finish the fringe. When I asked if you had a thing for butterflies, she said they're moths.
Why is it so long? I think I could wrap it around the block.
Yeah, well, she said... Never mind.
What?
Tell me.
She said,
I'm making it long
long.
enough to hang myself. With Penny's help, I'm going to leave a note and then kick out the chair myself so she can't be accused of murder.
Oh, damn it, girl. You can't have Penny watching you dangling like a scarecrow. She'll have nightmares, palpitations.
She'll be too busy serenading me. And I'll want you to cook me my last meal. Maybe your lasagna and that chocolate cake with the buttercream frosting and plenty of champagne. And don't forget, I don't mind people sitting shiva, but no ceremony and no obituary. Well, not that I've accomplished enough to warrant one. Rabbi Loden says Jews shouldn't be cremated, but I'm thinking of having my ashes scattered right here, in my dear old garment district.
Oh, baby, you're going to be missed.
Maybe, but I don't want people wasting their lives thinking that mine's gone to hell. Though it has made me such a bitch. Christ, Georgette, when am I going to get over this whole anger phase and move on to acceptance?
Oh, baby, you moved on. You've just taken the anger with you. Hell, I'd do the same.
Thanks for that. At least I'm dying at a historical moment. The whole country's up to their eyeballs in debt. The fat cats are growing fatter. And Mama's on her way to being one. Though I shouldn't complain, because you wouldn't be here if she wasn't. So I couldn't afford your services. But then again, I'd already be dead.
Forget, stop.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said tell you everything. I miss him too.
I know. Did I tell you Nathan took a picture? When you were wheeling her into the shop. She's smiling. Because she's finally meeting Siegfried.
No, girl. She's smiling because you were still among the living. Speak of the devil. He's looking up here again. Now he's going inside. Of course, he knew Portia was sick. He passed us when I was pushing her down the street the other day. He looked straight at us. That's when she noticed his eyes.
are freaky. And they filled with tears when he saw me. Now he knows I'm fucked. My future plan's limited. Which is why I've changed my mind about hanging.
Oh, well, thank you, Jesus, for that.
Instead, I want an amazing death. A fucking phenomenal death that no one's ever seen.
She actually said that? A phenomenal death?
Yeah, like she was planning on dropping a bomb.
Or dropping a stitch. Or opening a seam in the fabric of time. Think about it. Before Portia mentioned it, did you ever see people going into spindles and not coming out? And I keep finding scraps, like they're materializing from some astral plane. What if she's always with us? Hovering nearby.
Oh, shush, girl. You're giving me the willies.
Sorry. I just can't help this feeling that I'm being watched, and not just by Portia, but the police.
Well, then at least you got yourself an audience.
Later that night, Nathan stopped by and, after 3 glasses of wine, said,
We need to talk about Siggy. Do you think your sister's influenced your feelings? I mean, are you trying to fulfill her fantasies?
I have fantasies of my own, thanks. Besides, Portia saw Siegfried as a romantic royalty, but to me, he's an exotic exile with curiosity about everything.
Especially you. Can you imagine a life with an exotic?
Well, maybe he likes it. Maybe he doesn't aspire to a normal life.
Actually, he does. He told me.
Well, I doubt he meant it. If Siegfried had a wife and children, they might oppress and ruin him.
And he'd ruin them, because he's a bore. Always lecturing about colliders and black holes. He's the black hole. and you've fallen in, along with the rest of his cult. Why do women find psychopaths so attractive? Oh shit, he's looking up here. He's waving.
So wave back.
You love all this adoration, don't you? You're vainer than you think.
What I think is that you and Julian should stop spreading vicious lies about someone you really don't know.
All right. We'll stop judging poor old Siggy. Anyway, it's your life, your decision. Probably trade us both for your sister anyway.
It's not a contest, Nathan.
And if it were?
Since you asked, then yes. If I could, I would trade everything I know for one more day with Portia. Every day since she left, I've been thinking of all the things I should have said and done.
Not your fault you're still alive. Sexy. You're driving me fucking crazy.
What was that?
A bug?
Nathan, just get rid of it. I'm sorry, but I really have to practice Paganini's caprices.
Forget Paganini. Come here, beautiful.
They're virtuoso pieces.
I'll show you virtuoso.
We're drunk. Now I need to practice alone.
Come on, let's practice together. A sex tape.
No!
Come on!
I'm serious.
Gives a shit!
I do. Now leave or I'll scream.
Fine. I'll leave. But I may not come back.
Well, that's your decision.
No, it's yours.
Do I have to make it right now?
No, but soon. Tick, tock. Tick, tock. Tick, fucking tock!
Later that night, I crossed the street to see Siegfried, who said, I missed you.
I miss you, my sweet girl. I thought you had forgotten about me.
Forget you? How could I forget the strangest man I've ever known? Oh, there's this moth on your back.
Oh, I am afraid the creatures have infested all the fabrics. I mean, the man came and sprayed, and I showed them as he came in. He took some specimens and feels they are an aberrant species from an escaped zoo or a nearby university or a zoological weapon. Usually only the larvae eat fibers, but the adult moths prefer nectar. These have a needle-like nose and teeth, and they devour everything, even the lames.
Well, maybe Portia knows their origins. Come here, look. Her moths are the same color. Even the wing patterns are similar. When I last saw her, she was sitting over there by the organza. There must have been a particular fold that only she sensed, then slipped into and was swept away. Why this fabric and why this wall? Do you think certain spaces can emanate consciousness? Can rooms reject misery and suffering and create their own reality? And how did this shop let its powers be known? The police think that you've set up a secret network.
Yes, the website for the woebegone, or the dial-up for the desperate. I mean, what utter nonsense it is, but what does it matter now? Now everyone knows, if you're female and afflicted, come to Spendles. If you are crippled and blind, come to Spendles.
You're addicted or demented.
Oh, I no longer matter and have ceased to care. Come to Spendles. They are even using it on the news like a verb to spindle or be spindled, or in the suspected spindling of Miss Chintz from Chelsea. Why do people assume it leads to finality? I believe it leads to a continuum, perhaps, a portal of perpetuity. I shall call it Spindle's continuum hypothesis. But of course, if our doors are locked from the health department, no one will be spindled anymore. Now, come here. Now, I've noticed that some of them have started laying eggs, and as they sprout into the larva process, they are covered themselves in a thick silk-like from the abdomen. Here, pull, take it. Now pull it. It appears to be some sort of super silk, stronger than any I have ever encountered. And see that shimmering? It's not just luminescent. It's as if it's glowing from the inside, like It could conduct electricity.
Siegfried, this is amazing.
Perhaps it could be woven into fabrics that reflect light and heat. It could cool deserts. We could put it on a parasol between the earth and the sun.
Like a shroud to protect the planet. If we're living in a world not our own, then it must be Portia's. I mean, it has to be.
But the moths repulse her.
How do you know that?
She told me when she followed me to the back room to see a shipment of Shantung
Shantung
silk.
silk is my favorite fabric. It's such wonderful irony, isn't it? How such lustrous fabric can come from such grubby and disgusting little creatures.
One of nature's many enigmas.
You have such finely sculpted hands. You must be an artist.
Ah, no. My gift is for mathematics of space and time.
Great. So you can calculate how to slow things down so we can be in here for hours while the others think we'll only be gone for a couple of minutes? Can you do that?
I'm sorry. The numbers keep moving at an inexorable pace.
Damn. Has Penny told you how sick I am? Don't answer that, but I'll tell you a secret. Penny's crazy about you. She watches you in the windows and watches you all the time.
It's you as the only one that I see.
Your voice is just how I imagined. But your eyes are scary. I shouldn't talk. Mine are turning yellow from the pills that wreck my liver. I'm hoping to check out before I start looking any worse. Every time I see scissors or knives, I think the Japanese have the right idea. Sorry I'm such a downer.
Please feel free to express yourself in any way. We are acquaintances now, like the old neighbors.
Yeah, but you and the rest of the world will march on without me.
Sooner or later, the parade ends for everyone.
Yeah, but you don't have every cell in your body being bombarded. I've tried everything. Microbiotics, meditation, even those freaky little health healers. The doctors keep cutting it out, but it just keeps coming back. Anyway, I'm glad we've met, before time runs out. It's such a funny expression, isn't it? As if time is something tangible we can run out of. Like milk.
Well, there is also ontological time, which is the time that you live on to friends and family, or in the mind of God, if there is a God. And who knows about consciousness, whether it ends or keeps going and endures.
If it endures, could I haunt you?
Please do.
I knew you'd be kind. Now, about Penny, I lied. She doesn't really love you. The truth is Penny's amazing. Not an ego-obsessed, egomaniac like me, or the creep she dates. She hardly ever loses her temper, no matter how much she's provoked. You should get to know her.
I would try.
Will you do more than try? Will you make an effort?
Yeah. Yeah, I will.
Thank you. Promise you won't forget me?
Never.
I wish they could speak. Where are you from? Why are you here?
A feedback loop from another universe. I keep trying to imagine their perspective by cocooning myself, hoping to glean some sort of insight. Would you like to join me?
Aren't we being watched?
The only bugs here are the moths.
I don't know, this is weird. Are you sure you're not a vampire?
Dear girl, I am certain of nothing else.
Does it matter?
Well, apparently not. I can never tell if you're joking.
But you are drawn to the idea, yeah?
Is it only an idea?
I sometimes wonder, because my amber eye, which appears to have facets like the optical orbs of the moth, so you never know.
I see what you mean.
Now, looking through the veil of Voli, do you feel the faint fluttering of your fingers? A light uplifting of your arms? Though we are still constrained by gravity, can you feel the magnetic connection, a biological bonding with all the creatures across the fields of infinity?
Well, there's a distant humming.
Yeah. Though the curse of being a moth would be forsaking the feel of human flesh, the sensuality of another being, especially one who makes music and whose tears sparkle like jewels. Are you thinking of her?
Are you?
Yeah. Like Portia, I want to stop the clock and to stay like this in the world.
But the clock didn't stop. The days rushed forward, bringing hotter temperatures, growing hysteria, and the visitors in shifts, hoping that I could offer something more than the solace of a dowsing over strings.
Baby, you know.
No doubt you've heard.
That every shop on the street has been infested.
Whole bolts of cloth consumed overnight.
It's a parasitic pestilence.
A fucking plague.
Possibly from Beijing.
More like from Romania?
From outer space.
And of course, they're blaming
Spindles
spindles.
reported the first infestation.
I hear you've been lured to the Mothman's lair.
That's none of your business.
It's one thing to dispatch sickly females, but why breed a mutant species?
You don't know what you're talking about.
Things have gone from bad to the bloody apocalypse.
Manhattan's a ghost town. Our lives unraveling, our clothes, curtains, linens.
This morning I opened my closet and swarms flew out into my face.
It's revolting. Everyone's buying cats in the
Police
least
say fumigate has been spotted in Queens.
Tracked to Brooklyn.
The Bronx.
The whole damn city.
I blame the geek. He's been nothing but trouble since he came
The
to
spindles,
Spindles.
all hell's broken loose.
I'm leaving.
I'm leaving for my sisters in Jersey.
You're coming. You better hurry. Tick, tock. Tick, tock. Tick, tock.
A week later, the Department of Health ceased its ineffectual spraying, and they quarantined the garment district. They wanted to quarantine the entire city, but you can't stop moths from flying wherever they want, not to mention fleeing New Yorkers. Police barriers went up. It looked like the whole city was in a state of siege, and whenever I ventured across the street, I was accompanied by the thrumming of 1,000 wings.
Close the door. Siggy, step away from the window.
My aunt thinks I'm going to be shot.
His life has been threatened. They broke in and stole our computers.
Well, did you tell the police?
It was the police. And your beasts have consumed our best fabrics.
My beasts.
Have you thought of the eventual consequences? Soon we may all be naked. Not a pretty picture.
Like the Emperor's new clothes, we will wear threads of infeasible fabric.
This is no time for joking.
Think about the winter, it will be so cold. Bah.
You will not be laughing when you're stripped of your dignity.
Well, maybe that's their purpose. I mean, if they have one. If we're all naked, then we couldn't tell our friends from our enemies. There'd be fewer wars, because we'd all be more conscious of our flesh and blood bodies, our shared humanity.
And inhumanity. You can still tell the races.
The men from the women.
The fat manicured rich from the humble worker. The sagging and wrinkled old from the slender body of you. You smile, Siggy, but never think that the old no longer need to be touched or feel passions as strong as your own. Now you cannot know, but when you wake with the empty pillow beside your own, you will still sense the aching, yearning needs of the heart.
Auntie.
There were days where I thrust my own hands into folds, hoping to be taken to wherever they go. There.
Well, how should I know? Please stop accusing me. I know you hate me,
No,
but...
I do not hate you. I admire your talent. But it pains me to see lives ruined and hearts broken.
Auntie, I am not a fragile teacup.
Siegfried and I love each other, and I believe he'll become whatever he wants to. Just hope to be there when he does. So why can't you tell your aunt I'm not to blame?
It's because you are.
You hurt him. Now tell her. Tell her we know.
No, what?
It was you. It was you all along.
No, but Portia, we agreed.
You assumed.
But how?
You tell me. How does someone wield the existence of transit through time? I mean, wormholes require exotic material and feed off negative energy. Metaphorically speaking, the world is full of negative energy, but yours has taken form.
Why me? I mean, most days all I do is eat and sleep and practice and perform. I'm a good violinist, but I am not great. I'm not the best. Portia always wanted me to compose, and I did once, but I wasn't inspired to compose more, so how? How could someone so predictable and so ordinary possibly be responsible?
We believe it started with the visible decline of your sister. She would look out the window waiting for you for hours.
You were dependable as a clock. Always the same day, same time, carrying your violin with your back bent, your brow furrowed. Tell her, Sid.
With the window open, we could hear you play. On the last day of June, you played this strangely, hauntingly beautiful melody over and over again. Do you remember?
That was my own concerto in E minor. Portia kept asking me to play again and again.
We found it enchanting. But when you finished, when your bow left the string, the street was silent. Everything, the traffic and the people, even the birds. Life on this street seemed to stop and question its own existence. An hour later, a woman entered the shop and dematerialized. A week later, 2 more came and poof, gone.
We couldn't believe our eyes. We were terrified, but still uncertain of the cause until your sister came and whoosh.
Believe me, you are not ordinary. You and your violin possess powers that most of us never even dreamed possible. It seems the fabric of the universe is made up of strings after all. A microscopic symphony of vibrations that carry your thoughts whenever you play. So, my dear, where are your thoughts landing? Are they with Portia?
So if you're serious, if you really want to help me, there's something you can do. When the time comes, you're going to help me die.
What if I screw up and you wind up in a coma?
You better not. Look, maybe we'll get lucky and they'll have an accident. I could choke or have a heart attack.
A drunk driver could hit you.
Sure. Or bricks could fall on my head, or I could get struck down by lightning. If we were Eskimos, you could just leave me on an ice floe.
Right.
If we were Indians, you could just leave me in the woods. Look, we'll think of something.
I don't know. I think you're asking way too much of me.
You give me a kidney, but you won't help me die.
It's not the same. Kidney would keep you alive, but I can't even say it.
At least say you'll try.
Okay. You know, sometimes when I practice, I imagine you falling.
Like off the building?
No. Into a hole.
Is it large or small?
Well, it starts out small, but then it grows until it's huge and infinite. Like the universe, and there's stars and planets.
Do you push me?
No. You fall and then float.
Am I alone? I don't want to be alone.
No. There'll be others, whoever you want.
Women. Hundreds of them. The damned and the desperate, just like me. So where do we go?
Someplace better?
How can it be better if you're not there? Hey, don't cry. Look, you are lucky, and I could pass out of my sleep. I could stroke out. But in the meantime, you have to promise me. So say it. I promise.
I promise. So you think something so personal and so pathetic, like not keeping a promise?
Intentions do have power, and you did keep your promise.
My God, what are these?
It's from the past materializing.
From spindle samples?
From a vow not of our own?
But moths, Siegfried, what if the cocoons could be woven into silks that protect us from extreme heat, from famine and drought?
From fire and floods?
Fabric that comforts the sick.
That brings back the dead.
Fabric of immortality. Siegfried, what do I do?
Whatever you can, and do it quick.
I suppose you've heard she put the Philharmonic to play in the parks.
I hear she's playing on the streets.
No, I'm told she's in the subways on the platforms.
On the trains.
But isn't it wonderful that she's composing
Think
again?
again, is she? I hear she's got quite the following.
Like the Pied Piper and his rats.
Only I call her the naked fiddler.
That's what folks call her.
The naked fiddler.
still listening, you can disconnect your cameras and microphones because this is goodbye. I'm going to live with Siegfried, who says I am bringing new variations to the vibrato of cosmic frequencies. I'm afraid I failed to banish the mobs, so the material world is still vanishing, but there's a glimmer of hope. In the garment district, they're opening factories that are taking the cocoons and weaving them into super silks. Siegfried is draping Spindle's window. Katrina's still managing the shop. The people are lining up to buy the silk in 7 shades of periwinkle blue. Of course, others will be looking to fur fold in the fabric of mortality. Yes, it's still there. So, ladies, please come when you're ready.